So we got a lot to talk about that happened in the last couple weeks in gaming, from Monolith being closed down by Warner Brothers to Assassin's Creed Shadows being leaked, on top of other news relating to the game, and a lot more to get into. I'm not gonna waste that much time. Let's go ahead and get to the news. Warner Brothers officially shut down Monolith Productions, canceling the Wonder Woman game in the process, according to Bloomberg. Now, as we all know, they've made games like the Middle Earth series and the Fear series, as well as Condemned, which I didn't know they made Fear. And I don't know about y'all, but to me, the writing may have been on the wall a little bit. Back when they, the last time I spoke about the Wonder Woman game, something did sound a little bit off. It sounded like that part of the team wanted to include the Nemesis system, and another part said, no, let's not do it. And we're at where we're at, where Warner Brothers probably said, oh, okay, what do y'all got? We gave y'all this time, gave y'all this money and resources, and y'all still ain't got nothing. And y'all over here fighting about what y'all want to do in terms of the creative decisions of the game. I mean, I wish they hadn't been shut down. I wish they would, the latter would have just been to, I don't know, maybe sell off Monolith and some of its IPs, even though they could still do that technically. But I think what's the more likely scenario probably going to play out in the future, if we see this Wonder Woman game, if it somehow resurrects itself from the grave that it once was in, it does not need to be a CG trailer. And if it does get remade by another dev, would it be by somebody else that's currently at Warner Brothers? Could they try to have the people who made the Hogwarts Legacy game, after they put out the sequel to that, could they try to say, hey, do you want to make a Wonder Woman game and see how that works? Because if we're being honest, I feel like the old school Rocksteady combat system, in a way, it's present in that Hogwarts Legacy game, believe it or not, even though it's just wands, but you get the idea. Or could they do one of the two things, where they either just put both IPs and all the IPs that Monolith has in a vault for it to never be revived ever, or do they license them out to another developer? That is yet to be seen. Now, according to the Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddit, a post that's been now removed showed people streaming. I don't know how they got access to this, but multiple people were streaming Assassin's Creed Shadows a month early, and the gameplay, including some spoilers, were leaked out online. Now, as of this recording, they've been sniped with 100% accuracy. Nobody missed a shot. You would have thought the snipers over there, Ubisoft, was Agent 47, the way they were accurate with taking that shit down. I mean, my God, like, they was not kidding around. They was not playing around when it came to getting these leaks the fuck up out of here. They were quick and responsive. But all of this did trigger a official response from Ubisoft. Hello everyone, we are aware players have accessed Assassin's Creed Shadows ahead of its official release. The development team is still working on patches to prepare the experience for launch, and any footage shared online does not represent the final quality of the game. Leaks are unfortunate and can diminish the excitement for players. We kindly ask if you do not spoil the experience for others. Thank you to our community for already taking steps to protect everyone from spoilers. Stay in the shadows, avoid the spoilers, and keep an eye on our channel for more official surprises in the coming weeks. March 20th will be here soon. My God, I have not seen a leak this bad about an upcoming single player game since The Last of Us Part 2. And I know some people may be wondering, well, why would you compare this leak to that? We had a leak for that game come out at least, what, 5-6 months before the game came out, I believe it was. But the only reason why I'm comparing the two is because the fact there were spoilers out in the wild, and it makes me wonder, did Ubisoft just respond so quickly to these spoilers simply because they remember The Last of Us Part 2 leaks? Because everybody does. I honestly believe that those leaks really made a lot of developers around the industry say, hey, we got to make sure that this don't happen again. Now, unfortunately, we know that that ain't the case for Insomniac. I mean, they had a massive leak, but the difference between them and Naughty Dog having a leak, we've not seen little to nothing with Wolverine. And of course, you got idiots online who think that the Wolverine game leak is going to look like based off what the leaks we've seen, which is not true at all. I guess a pre-alpha footage game is supposed to look like shit. Like you're not supposed to see something that isn't finished. That's like trying to bake a turkey, and then when somebody pulls it out and it's halfway done, you're like, oh my God, this turkey's awful. Well, you didn't let it cook all the way, you idiot. Like what you thought was gonna happen. But I am happy that they were able to respond to leaks very quickly, to where they did not let this shit get out of hand. The last thing this game needs is more bad PR. Assassin's Creed Shadows pre-orders are in line with Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And despite all the controversies around the game, Ubisoft still sees strong interest in the game overall. As Guillermo said, quote, tracking solidly in line with those of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, the second most successful entry of the franchise. For people who don't know, Assassin's Creed Odyssey sold 10 million copies. So if the pre-orders are in line with that game, and we know how successful that game was, then it's more than likely it's going to end up reaching those numbers. I know people keep trying to cope and tell themselves that there's no way this game is going to sell to the likes of recent games, despite all the controversy. But Ubisoft has been able to tap into a new audience with this shift in turning it into an RPG. They did it with Origins, they did it with Odyssey, they did it with Valhalla. And just like with Valhalla, we know that it made Ubisoft the most money, exceeding over $1 billion in revenue. And like I've stated in the past, when you hit a certain dollar amount for a franchise, then there is no flop in mind. Just like with the Grand Theft Auto series. Once GTA 5 hit a certain dollar amount, people's like, man, whenever GTA 6 comes out, we know it's going to sell a gazillion copies. Now, this was an exclusive report from Tom Henderson himself, where it stated that Ubisoft is very confident on releasing Assassin's Creed Shadows on March 20th, despite the earlier rumors that at one point it was going to be delayed again. As we all know, Ubisoft did not really need to delay this game one more time, because if they had, the confidence for that game would have been sinking to the lowest it's ever been for an Assassin's Creed game, I'll tell you that. But we ain't got much longer to wait, probably a little bit over a month or some change, till we get our hands on the game. It's been reported that Sony's upcoming live service game, Fair Games, has slipped into 2026. Now, this is according to Jeff Grubb, so take what he's saying with a grain of salt, considering the fact that Grubb is like one of those hit or miss when it comes to his reporting. But according to him, at least, this delay is supposedly an internal delay. Now, I don't want to seem like a Debbie Downer, but I'll be honest, considering the state and the recent track record of Sony, where they've been going out of their way to outright can and scrap live service games, it makes me wonder, is this the next head on the chopping block and we're about to see it roll into a basket? Because I don't really think the hyper anticipation for this was even there. And besides, Jade Raymond does have a poor track record when it comes to leading some of her most recent projects, where she'll start a game and some people will say that they don't like working around her, saying that she may make things a little bit more difficult, hard to work with, this, that, and the third, and certain projects never get to see the light of day. At least that's something that's been rumored and reported. And if this game does get scrapped, I hope it gets replaced with a single player game, maybe something that has its own Watch Dogs vibe to it, because at least from the Fair Games teaser trailer that they showed, it kind of gave off that kind of Mr. Robot Watch Dogs vibe. And it felt like it had some single player vibes to it, in a sense, in terms of a potential narrative being there. Maybe they could use that as a thread to create something with it down the road if, fingers crossed, this Fair Games game gets canceled. Fable officially gets delayed into 2026, and with this delay came a new snippet of gameplay, at least like almost 50 seconds, where it kind of shows off the environments, how gorgeous it looks. Now, this is stated as a pre-alpha footage, and based off this footage, it gives me more so Witcher vibes than anything. And I don't know about y'all, but I could even tell that even with the earlier trailers, how her sword look on the back, it kind of looked like it had similarities to the Witcher sword in a sense. But I think the coolest part about this is you do get to see an updated face model. You do get to see her fight a freaking Lycan or werewolf, whatever they end up calling him in this franchise. But at least in this, it kind of does look like it's chugging at 30 frames or maybe at 40. I can't really tell all the way. Nevertheless, this looks like something that's going to be ready to come out by next year. I think the biggest question mark is what can they do with the storytelling, the RPG mechanics, the dialogue choices, because that's been a big point of contention for a lot of recent RPGs where people may not be all the way satisfied with certain things you can do in terms of romance, dialogue options, relationships, etc., etc. But nevertheless, it does seem like between now and towards the end of the year, maybe at this year's Game Awards, we'll get a whole ginormous marketing campaign for this game, probably a little bit sooner, depending on what the release window is for next year. I'll imagine we'll start getting like deep dive gameplay walkthroughs of the game, ultimately a release date. And it does make you wonder, will this be one of the first Xbox titles that comes to PS5 day one? Now, I know that may seem batshit crazy, but given Xbox's recent track record, it kind of isn't, because they have put certain games on PlayStation most of the time, sometime down the road, like 5 to 6 months out or after. And it makes me wonder, would they do the same thing they did with Indiana Jones, where they say, okay, this game is going to come out for Xbox now or around this time in a few months, and the PlayStation version will come out in the spring. I wonder if they'll do something like that, where whenever this game comes out, it'll, like, if this game comes out, let's say in the summer of 2026 or the spring of 2026, they can say, well, the PlayStation version can come out in the holiday season. Which, you know what they can do with that. They can easily try to bundle that with a PS5, unless if Wolverine comes out by then, hopefully. But it is a lot we don't know and a lot more yet to be seen. Now, with that being said, y'all let me know what you think about all these stories in the comments below. Till next time, I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.